Manufacturers are now warning about a possible shortage of canned sardines later this year due to the supposed shortage of tamban. Sheila Francisco with the report. Do you still believe canned sardines are one of the cheapest and safest foods in America? Sorry to break it to you, but today you might have to rethink everything you've ever put on your crackers. Sardines once had a clean reputation, cheap, filling, and praise for omega-3 seconds. But open the wrong tin today, and instead of ocean freshness, you're hit with a sour metallic stench, cloudy oil, or even a worm drifting in the brine. So today, we're counting down 7 sardine brands you must avoid, ending with 2 that are actually safe to eat. Watch until the end, because what you've been keeping in your pantry might not be as harmless as you think. Before we dive into the danger zone, let's talk about what sardines used to represent. For decades, certain brands sold themselves as the safe, no-nonsense protein in a can. Families trusted them for school lunches and quick dinners. The packaging screamed reliability, bright, clean labels promising flavor and freshness. But peel back that lid in 2021, and the story turned dangerous for some of these trusted names. The cans looked fine. No swelling, no dents, just neat little tins sitting in your pantry. You open one expecting savory fish with a smoky flavor, and what you get instead can kill, a harmless fillet hiding poison. Would you risk a hospital stay for a flavored can? For seniors, this isn't just about an upset stomach. We're talking about toxins that can shut down your nervous system and stop you from breathing. The bacteria we're discussing paralyzes muscles, starting with blurred vision and drooping eyelids. Left untreated, it moves to the lungs. If you're already managing blood pressure or heart medications, your body can't fight back. The CDC says this type of contamination can kill in as little as 24 hours without treatment. That's the reality hiding in some of these tins. So let's get into the brands you need to pull from your shelves right now. Asterisk, asterisk. Number 7, TLC, canned sardines, asterisk, asterisk. At number 7, Cloverleaf, the Canadian classic with a rotten twist. For decades, this brand sold itself as the safe, no-nonsense protein in a can. Families trusted it for school lunches and quick dinners. The packaging screamed reliability, bright, clean labels promising flavor and freshness. But peel back that lid in 2021, and the story turned dangerous. Cloverleaf's Canadian Food Inspection Agency confirmed the threat, Clostridium botulinum. That's not a fancy spice. That's the bacteria behind botulism, a toxin that can shut down your nervous system and stop you from breathing. Over 20,000 cans were pulled in one sweep. But here's the real shocker. The cans look fine. No swelling, no dents, just neat little tins sitting in your pantry. You open one expecting savory fish with a smoky flavor, and what you get, instead, can kill, a harmless fillet hiding poison. Would you risk a hospital stay for a flavored can? For seniors, this isn't just about an upset stomach. Botulism paralyzes muscles, starting with blurred vision and drooping eyelids. Left untreated, it moves to the lungs. If you're already managing blood pressure or heart medications, your body can't fight back. The CDC says botulism can kill in as little as 24 hours without treatment. Now, you might be thinking this was just one isolated incident, one bad batch that slipped through. But here's what concerns me. When a company's quality control fails this catastrophically, when deadly bacteria makes it into thousands of cans, it raises serious questions about their entire operation. What other problems are lurking that we don't know about? This isn't like finding a fish bone in your sardine. This is finding a potential death sentence in a can that looked perfectly normal sitting on your shelf. Asterisk, asterisk. Number 6, TL, Tan Lung, asterisk, asterisk. Moving to number 6, we've got TL Tan Lung brand sardines from China, manufactured by Fujin Yongfa Company Limited. In 2018, alongside TLC, Nigerian food safety regulators issued a warning for this brand. The problem? Nematode worm infestation. Yes, you read that right. Parasitic worms swimming around in what was supposed to be your convenient protein source. Now, nematodes aren't just disgusting to look at, they're a legitimate health hazard. These parasitic worms can cause serious gastrointestinal infections, abdominal pain, nausea, and in severe cases, complications that require hospitalization. For people with compromised immune systems, the elderly, or young children, the risks are even higher. Your body is dealing with an actual parasite that's invaded your digestive system. The recall was specific to certain batches imported into Nigeria. But here's the problem with recalls like this. They only catch what inspectors happen to find. How many cans made it through before someone noticed? How many people consumed contaminated sardines before the warning went out? And most importantly, if quality control is so lax that parasitic worms are making it into finished products, what does that tell you about the overall sanitation and processing standards at this facility? This isn't a minor quality issue like mushy texture or off taste. This is a fundamental failure of food safety at the most basic level. When you're canning fish, the entire point of the process is to eliminate harmful organisms and create a shelf-stable, safe product. If parasitic worms are surviving the canning process, or worse, being introduced during processing, then the whole operation is compromised. Number 5, TLC brand, ***. At number 5, we have another TLC brand, but this one needs its own spotlight because of the severity of the issue. Back in 2018, NAFDAC, the Nigerian Food Safety Regulator, issued a specific warning about TLC brand canned sardines, manufactured by ATLC, Dongshan Dongyi Food Company in China. The reason? The same nightmare scenario, nematode parasitic worms found in the product. What makes this particularly troubling is the pattern we're seeing here. Multiple Chinese manufacturers, multiple instances of parasitic contamination. This suggests systemic issues in certain processing facilities, not just isolated incidents. When you're dealing with seafood processing, especially in regions where oversight might be less stringent, the risk of contamination multiplies. Nematodes in canned fish represent one of the most serious food safety violations possible. These aren't harmless organisms that die during processing. In some cases, they survive, and when you consume them, you're introducing a parasite into your body that can cause anisakiasis, a parasitic infection that causes severe abdominal pain, nausea, vomiting, and potentially allergic reactions. Some people require surgical intervention to remove the worms from their digestive tract. The warning was specifically for batches imported into Nigeria, but here's the reality. Global supply chains mean these products could end up anywhere. Import regulations vary by country. What gets flagged and stopped in one nation might slip through in another. If you're buying extremely cheap sardines with unclear country of origin or minimal labeling information, you're taking a gamble with your health. Number 4, Parmentier sardines with olive oil and chili pepper. Number 4 might surprise you because it's not a budget brand. Parmentier, a French brand known for hand-canned products, faced a recall for their sardines with olive oil and chili pepper due to potential bacterial contamination. This one's important because it shatters the myth that premium prices and fancy packaging automatically equals safety. France has some of the strictest food safety regulations in Europe, and yet even under that system, contaminated products can make it to market. The recall was for specific batches, but the issue was bacterial load in the canned fish, which creates a risk of food poisoning. When bacteria proliferate in canned fish, you're looking at potential exposure to pathogens that cause severe gastrointestinal illness. The problem with bacterial contamination in canned goods is that it often means the heat processing wasn't sufficient or the can seal was compromised at some point. Canned fish should be shelf-stable precisely because the canning process kills harmful bacteria. When that process fails, you've got a breeding ground for pathogens in an oxygen-deprived, moist environment, which is exactly what certain dangerous bacteria love. What's particularly concerning about premium brands having these issues is that consumers let their guard down. You pay extra, you see the French label, the artisanal marketing, and you assume you're getting superior safety. But contamination doesn't care about price points. A compromised can is a compromised can, whether it costs $2 or $12. This recall serves as a reminder. Always inspect your cans before opening, regardless of brand reputation. Check for bulging, rust, leaks, or any sign of seal compromise. And when you open the can, use your nose. If something smells off, sour, or unusually pungent, don't take chances. Throw it out. Number 3, Brunswick hot peppers variant. At number 3, we've got Brunswick brand sardines, specifically the hot peppers variant. In June 2023, the Canadian Food Inspection Agency issued a recall for this product due to container integrity defects. Translation: the seals on these cans were compromised, creating a risk of spoilage or contamination. Container integrity is absolutely critical with canned fish. The seal is what keeps oxygen and bacteria out, maintaining the shelf-stable environment that makes canned goods safe for long-term storage. When that seal fails, even microscopically, you've opened the door for bacterial growth, oxidation, and spoilage. The fish might look okay when you first open it, but it's been sitting in a compromised environment potentially for months. A compromised seal in canned fish specifically raises the risk of botulism, which we talked about earlier. Clostridium botulinum thrives in low-oxygen environments like sealed cans. If a seal is defective, the bacteria can get in, multiply in the anaerobic environment, and produce the deadly toxin that causes botulism. Remember, this toxin can kill you in as little as 24 hours without treatment. Beyond the specific recall, Brunswick has received criticism from consumers for inconsistent quality and texture across their product line. User reviews mention mushy, unappetizing texture, strong or off flavors, and general quality control issues. When you see patterns like this, contamination recalls, combined with ongoing quality complaints, it suggests a company that's struggling with their manufacturing processes across the board. The hot peppers variant specifically creates an additional challenge because the added flavoring can mask early signs of spoilage. That strong, spicy flavor might cover up slightly off-smelling fish, meaning you wouldn't get the warning signal your nose normally provides before consuming contaminated seafood. Asterisk, asterisk. Number 2, Bumblebee, asterisk, asterisk. Number 2 is Bumblebee. Now, most people know Bumblebee for their tuna products, but they also produce canned sardines, and they've earned a spot on this list for reasons that go beyond immediate food safety concerns. Greenpeace has repeatedly criticized Bumblebee for their sourcing practices, environmental impact, and labor issues in their supply chain. Why does this matter when we're talking about sardine safety? Because ethical and sustainability issues often correlate with quality and safety problems. When a company cuts corners on environmental protection or labor practices, they're demonstrating a broader pattern of putting profits over responsibility. That same mentality often extends to food safety protocols, quality control, and supply chain oversight. Multiple consumer safety reviews and best to worst lists of canned sardine brands place Bumblebee in the worst to avoid category. The criticisms range from overfishing practices to unclear sourcing transparency to inconsistent product quality. When you can't clearly trace where your fish is coming from, how it was caught, and under what conditions it was processed, you're taking on unnecessary risk. There's also the issue of supply chain complexity. Bumblebee sources from multiple regions, uses various processing facilities, and the longer and more complex your supply chain becomes, the more opportunities exist for contamination, mishandling, or quality degradation. Fish that sits in transit too long in inadequate temperature controls, processing facilities with lax hygiene standards, storage conditions in hot warehouses, all of these factors compound. The sardine industry specifically has issues with species substitution and mislabeling. Some products labeled as sardines may actually contain juvenile herring or other less desirable species. Without strong transparency from the manufacturer about sourcing and processing, you have no way to verify what you're actually eating. Consumer reviews also flag texture and flavor issues with Bumblebee sardines. Descriptions like mushy, metallic taste, excessive saltiness, or fish that falls apart into an unappealing paste when you open the can. These quality issues suggest processing problems, whether it's overcooking during canning, poor quality raw materials, or inadequate handling. Asterisk, asterisk. Number 1, Beach Cliff, asterisk, asterisk. And now we've reached number 1 on our avoid list, Beach Cliff. This brand consistently appears on worst to avoid lists for canned sardines, and the reasons are numerous. Consumers report strong, unpleasant flavors, mushy texture that's more like fish paste than actual sardine fillets, and concerns about added ingredients, including sugars and less desirable oils. The texture issue is particularly telling. Sardines should have some firmness to them, some structural integrity when you open the can. When you're getting mush, it suggests either poor quality fish to begin with or over-processing that's broken down the fish proteins into an unappealing paste. Neither scenario inspires confidence in the overall quality control. Beechcliff products often contain added sugars, which is bizarre when you think about it. Sardines are fish. Why do they need added sugar? In many cases, sugar is added to mask off flavors or to make lower quality fish more palatable. It's a red flag that the base product isn't good enough to stand on its own. Then there's the oil issue. Beechcliff often packs their sardines in soybean oil or other cheap vegetable oils rather than olive oil. Now, from a health perspective, you're not getting the same benefits. From a quality perspective, it suggests cost cutting. Premium sardine producers use olive oil because it's better for flavor and health. Budget brands use whatever's cheapest. User reviews consistently describe Beechcliff sardines as having a strong, fishy smell that goes beyond normal sardine aroma into unpleasant territory. They talk about metallic aftertastes, excessive saltiness, and fish that looks gray and unappetizing rather than the silver-skinned fillets you expect. Some reviews mention finding excessive amounts of scales, bones, or other undesirable parts that should have been removed during processing. When you combine all these factors, mediocre ingredients, cheap oils, added sugars, poor texture, unpleasant flavors, it paints a picture of a brand that's focused on being the cheapest option on the shelf rather than providing quality or safety. And in the canned fish world, cheapest often means highest risk. Asterisk, asterisk. The budget brand problem? Asterisk, asterisk. Before we get to the two safe brands, we need to talk about the seventh category that doesn't have a specific name, but it's arguably the most dangerous: ultra-cheap, unknown import brands. You see these at dollar stores, deep discount grocers, or even some Walmart shelves. No recognizable brand name, minimal labeling, rock-bottom prices. User reviews across forums like Reddit consistently warn against these products. People report rubbery texture, off flavors, suspicious ingredients, and general low quality. The phrase that comes up repeatedly is, if you can't verify the brand sourcing and processing, treat it with caution. Here's the reality. Sardines shouldn't be dirt cheap. There's a cost floor for catching, processing, canning, and distributing fish safely. When you see prices that seem too good to be true, something's being cut, and it's usually quality control, sanitation standards, or ingredient quality. Many of these ultra-budget brands are packed in cottonseed oil, which is one of the lowest grade oils used in food processing. Experienced sardine consumers specifically warn, avoid anything packed in cottonseed oil. It's a reliable indicator of a low-quality product where the manufacturer is cutting every possible corner to hit a price point. There's also the storage and transport issue, especially in hot climates or with long supply chains. Canned goods are shelf-stable, but they're not indestructible. Cans subjected to extreme heat, humidity, or rough handling during transport can develop integrity issues. Budget brands moving through less reliable supply chains are more likely to have been mishandled somewhere along the way. In Nigeria specifically, and across Africa, where import chains can be long and storage conditions variable, this becomes even more critical. Cans sitting in hot warehouses for months, products move through multiple distributors before reaching retail. Unclear cold chain practices, all of these factors increase risk with budget brands that may already have minimal quality standards. The pattern is clear. Very cheap canned sardines with minimal transparency carry higher risk of quality or safety issues. Whether it's contamination, poor processing, inadequate preservation, or just unpalatable texture and flavor, you're rolling the dice. And with food safety, you don't want to gamble. So those are the 7 brands and categories to avoid. Now let's talk about the good news. Because despite all these problems in the canned sardine industry, there are still companies doing it right. Asterisk, asterisk, the 2 safe brands, asterisk, asterisk. After all that bad news, let's talk about hope. Because there are still sardine brands out there that prioritize safety, quality, and transparency. 2 brands specifically stand out based on sourcing practices, quality controls, and consumer reviews. Asterisk, asterisk. Number 1, Wild Planet, asterisk, asterisk. First up is Wild Planet. This brand has built its reputation on transparency and sustainable practices. According to their own documentation, their sardines are wild-caught using methods that don't involve fish aggregating devices, which are harmful to marine ecosystems. They're canned in organic extra virgin olive oil with minimal ingredients, typically just sardines, olive oil, and salt. Review guides consistently rank Wild Planet among the best overall canned sardines for both quality and sustainability. The ingredient list is clean. You know exactly what you're getting. The sourcing is transparent. They'll tell you where the fish came from and how it was caught. And the processing standards are high, reflected in the texture and flavor of the final product. Consumers report firm, whole sardine fillets that actually look like fish when you open the can, not mush. The flavor is clean, briny, and distinctly sardine-like, without off flavors or metallic aftertaste. The olive oil they use is high quality, adding to the overall taste rather than just being a packing medium. Wild Planet also provides information about their sustainability certifications and fishing methods on their packaging and website. This level of transparency is rare in the canned fish industry, and it's a strong indicator that they're confident in their practices. Companies that cut corners don't advertise their methods, they hide them. Now, safer doesn't mean zero risk. You still need to inspect cans for damage, check dates, and store them properly. But Wild Planet represents the gold standard for what canned sardines should be. Quality fish, minimal processing, clean ingredients, and transparent sourcing. Asterisk, asterisk. Number 2, King Oscar, asterisk, asterisk. The second safe brand is King Oscar. This is a premium brand that's been around for over a century, and they've maintained their reputation through consistent quality. King Oscar is recognized in multiple buying guides as a top-tier canned sardine brand with good quality, sustainable fishing practices for certain product lines and reliable safety standards. King Oscar offers various options: sardines in olive oil, in water, in various sauces. The key is checking which specific product line you're buying and verifying the ingredients. Their premium lines use high-quality olive oil and maintain the integrity of the fish during processing, resulting in firm, flavorful sardines. Consumer feedback on King Oscar is consistently positive regarding flavor and texture. People describe the fish as meaty, well-formed fillets with good flavor that isn't overwhelmed by excessive salt or off notes. The packaging is reliable, the cans maintain their integrity, and the brand has a long track record without major recalls or safety incidents. The price point is higher than budget brands, but you're paying for quality control, better sourcing, and more careful processing. In the canned fish world, price often correlates directly with safety and quality. King Oscar represents that premium tier, where the higher cost reflects actual value in terms of what you're getting. Both Wild Planet and King Oscar demonstrate what's possible when companies prioritize quality over pure profit maximization. They show that you can produce safe, sustainable, delicious canned sardines if you're willing to invest in proper sourcing and processing. Asterisk, asterisk, how to choose safe sardines. Asterisk, asterisk. So, how do you navigate the canned sardine aisle safely, especially if you're in regions like Nigeria, where import chains are long and storage conditions variable? Here are the key guidelines. First, select brands with clear sourcing information. Look for certifications like MSC Sustainable Fishing, transparent information about where the fish came from, and clear details about processing methods. If a brand won't tell you where their sardines come from, that's a red flag. Second, inspect every can before purchasing. Avoid bulging cans, which indicate bacterial growth and gas production inside. Avoid rust, which compromises the can integrity. Avoid leaking cans or cans with dents, especially dents along seams, which can create pathways for contamination. If the can looks damaged or compromised in any way, don't buy it. Third, check the label carefully. Minimal ingredients are better: fish, oil, or water, and salt. That's all you need. Avoid products with long lists of additives, preservatives, or ingredients you don't recognize. Avoid cheap oils like cottonseed or soybean if possible. Look for olive oil, which indicates higher quality. Fourth, pay attention to country of origin and the import chain. Longer, more complex supply chains raise the risk of mishandling. Fish that's been shipped multiple times, stored in various warehouses, and moved through several distributors has more opportunities for something to go wrong. Look for shorter, simpler supply chains when possible. Fifth, consider storage conditions in your region. In hot, humid climates, canned goods degrade faster. Cans stored in market stalls under direct sunlight or in poorly ventilated warehouses face temperature extremes that can compromise seals or speed up any internal degradation. Buy from retailers with proper storage, air conditioning, or at least shade and ventilation. Sixth, understand the price versus quality trade-off. Very cheap cans are cheap for a reason. They're cutting costs somewhere, whether it's ingredient quality, processing standards, or safety controls. User feedback consistently shows that the cheapest sardines are the most likely to have texture problems, flavor issues, or worse, safety concerns. Seventh, consider oil versus water packing. Sardines packed in extra virgin olive oil with salt tend to have better flavor and often indicate higher overall quality standards. Water packed is acceptable and lower in calories, but sometimes results in drier, less flavorful fish. Avoid sardines in cheap vegetable oils, which often indicates a budget product with potential quality compromises. Eighth, check for fish species and origin on the label. Some products labeled as sardines may actually use less desirable species or even juvenile herring. Legitimate sardine brands will specify the species and where it was caught. Vague labeling like product of various countries or unclear species information is a warning sign. Ninth, stay alert for recalls. Before consuming any canned fish, especially brands you're trying for the first time, do a quick online search for any recall notices. Check both international databases and local regulatory alerts from agencies like NAFDAC in Nigeria. A brand might be fine in one country, but have recall issues in another market. And finally, diversify your consumption. Don't rely on a single brand for all your canned fish needs. Even good brands can have bad batches. By rotating between verified safe brands, you reduce your exposure to any single source of potential contamination. The bottom line is this: canned sardines can still be a safe, healthy, affordable protein source, but only if you're buying from reputable brands with transparent practices and proper quality controls. The 7 brands we've covered today, they represent what happens when companies prioritize cost-cutting over safety, when they lose sight of their fundamental responsibility to produce food that won't harm people. The 2021 cloverleaf incident with botulism contamination, the parasitic worms in TLC and TL10 lung products, the bacterial contamination in Parmentier, the seal integrity failures in Brunswick, the sourcing concerns with Bumblebee, the quality issues with Beechcliff, and the general risk category of ultra-cheap, unknown brands. All of these represent failures at different points in the safety chain. But Wild Planet and King Oscar show the alternative path. They prove that it's entirely possible to produce consistently safe, high-quality canned sardines if you're committed to doing it right. Yes, you'll pay more, but you're paying for peace of mind, for fish that won't send you to the emergency room, for products made by companies that respect their customers enough to prioritize their health. So the next time you're standing in that grocery aisle looking at rows of canned sardines, remember what we've talked about today. Check that label, inspect that can, know your brands, because what you pull off that shelf and put in your pantry could be nutritious food, or it could be a potential health crisis waiting to happen. The choice is yours, but now at least you're making it with your eyes wide open. That's the reality of canned sardines in 2025. Stay informed, stay safe, and choose wisely.